What's going on, family? Dave Jones here, and today we're going to build your focus. You know, we say focus is purpose. So if you're a person that struggles with your purpose and always ask or always wonder, why am I here? Today we're going to give you some insight to get closer to this point in life that you can find fulfillment. So it's good to see you guys. I'm going to go ahead and invite people to watch on. So if you're watching rebroadcast, you probably want to scoot up a couple of minutes. But today is going to be a great day, because we're going to dive in discovering who we are. Why are we here? And this is something that is so vital for many people because they struggle in this area. And there are some strategies to kind of get you closer faster so you won't go through life feeling like you're just here and you don't know why, right? And so definitely just take this moment and invite a couple people to listen in, especially those who may struggle with why they are here, because we're going to figure that out. God is going to help us. We're going to try to make it happen. Let me see if I can get my screen to share here. Good to see you guys this morning. Hit that like button. Let me know you're here. So excited. Today is Tuesday here, and we are in Michigan. And on a lighter note, it is still snowing in the middle, literally past the middle of April. That's foolishness. What in the world? Anybody enjoying this beautiful weather? This is just... All right, let me see here. I think my share is successful. Okay, so great. So we are again. Hit that like button. Let me know you guys are with me here in the room. So good morning to you. Today we're going to talk about purpose, and the question that we're going to ask or preface this is, why did God create you? A very interesting question. One of the things that I've discovered is that there are two things in life that if they are not fulfilled, your life will be in void and there will be a constant chase. And those two things are God and purpose. If you don't have God in your life, you will be searching for things to replace that innate nature to worship something, right? All of us have this nature or this void that needs to be filled, where we worship and we lift up and we praise something. And most times, and for us who don't have a relationship with God, we replace it with people. We call them celebrities or idols, and we create idolatry because we're trying to fill that gap. That gap is necessary, and we try to substitute it, or we're inclined to substitute it with things that are not God, and that causes a whole set of problems. That's not my lesson. The second one is purpose. We can go through life. We can be financially successful. We could be a hustler. We can always have things to do, but we still have this void in our life because it's not a purpose that is fulfilled. So in other words, when I say purpose, that it's not maybe what you're called to do. And so many of us are dissatisfied in the area of our workplace because what we're doing, there's no fulfillment there. There is no overflowing of satisfaction that you get in a return. And the problems that you're solving, you figure you're the ones to solve them. Not that you can't solve problems, or not you aren't solving problems, but the ones that you're solving, they may be for somebody else and not specific to the point in which God created you. And so this causes a void. This causes an uneasiness, an unhappiness, where there is no joy in your life, because the seed that God placed in you is dormant, and dormant is another word for basically dead potential. There's no motion in it. And so one of the things that we have to do is try to help each other to find ways to tap into that gift, that purpose of your creation. So let's be clear. Everything that God created, He created with a person. So you have to ask yourself, well, did God create me? Well, if you believe in God, the answer is yes. There's an intelligent being that had an idea in mind before He started to make you, and that idea had an expected end. It had a result, or it had an execution. Here we go. Let's use something in front of me. Before, like let's say this laptop computer was nothing but an idea of something that could be used to solve a problem, right? And so conceptually, the problem that can be solved is for people to be able to do word processing on it, to write stories, to do graphics, to communicate through the web, or whatever, right? And so before the formation of that idea, the formation of this computer, those ideas had to come to mind, and then the process started, or the intent to develop this. So this thing wouldn't have went through a blueprint. It wouldn't have went through the manufacturing process. It wouldn't have came out and made it to the actual the seller if there was no intent for this. It wouldn't make sense. And so if man is competent enough to come up with an idea and go through the process of formulating it, then you better believe that this has an intent. And if man can do that, God can do that. And he has done that. We get that concept from God. And so you got to ask yourself, all the things that you're doing in life, are they fulfilling a purpose that God has had for your life? We look at Revelations 4:11. Somebody write that in the chat. So this is to qualify that you are to do this. Revelations 4:11 says this: "Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power." Watch this. "For thou hast created all things." That includes you. So somebody say, God has created me. "And for thy pleasure they are and were created." So pleasure root word is please. So but obviously, if we were created to please or to pleasure God, there's something that we have to do in order to get God back the result of his intent. And so it's not a question of, do you have meaning? Do you have purpose? Do you have a point for your existence? You know, a lot of us, you know, the enemy, the world, yourself with depression will tell you that you really have no meaning. You really have no purpose. And those thoughts, some of us struggle with those thoughts, and we battle life because we're always searching for that meaning. Well, God tells us that he created you with purpose. And since he created you with purpose, you have significance. Now, if we distract this because it's not easily found, then we're distracted, and then we go through a life with no fulfillment. So here's the problem. Not everybody knows their purpose. Hit that like button. No, actually, tell me by yes or no, are you clear on your purpose? Yes or no? I want you. Let's participate. Let's have a dialogue and let's have a conversation. So yes, I know my purpose. No, I've yet to discover my purpose. And while you're right there, let me continue. So not every purpose, not every one of us knows our purpose. We don't know why we were created, right? This bottle of water was created for me, for a person to not have to use their hands to scoop water and to commute with it because they don't have a tap with them, right? This book, whatever was made to give somebody, this is Christian Fundamentals, to help somebody with the prerequisites in life to answer questions about their relationship with God. This pen was made for someone to communicate an idea on a piece of paper. So all things were created with a purpose, right? All things were created with a purpose. And so for those of us who don't know our purpose, here's the problem. When purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So some of us, since we don't know our purpose, we are operating abnormally. So we are abnormal creatures. So what does that mean? Like 2 words, abnormal, is abuse of what is normal. So there is a normal course of action that you are supposed to have. And when you don't do that, you become abnormal, where you abuse what was normal. So abuse or the use of you is abnormal, right? So those words all tie together. And so we want to stop that, because I want you to know, again, that your life will not find fulfillment if you don't, of course, first find God and then find the reason that he expects you. Jeremiah 29:11 says, I know the thoughts that I have towards you. These thoughts that God have, they're good, and they are not of the evil that we go through, right? But they are to get us to an expected end. So there's an end that he had in mind before he started. So, okay, so David, so what does that mean for us? All right, so let's look at, to confirm this, a couple examples. When God created man, let's look at the first man God created. We can see that he had purpose in him. Genesis 2:15, and it says, when God created him, he said, and the Lord God took Adam and he put him in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. So there's a little bit of purpose of why God created him. So God had created man and he put him in an environment and he told him to dominate his environment. This is the first an overall creation, but this specifically, he told him to dress this garden and to keep it or to protect this garden, everything that was in its surroundings. So there it is. He found work. Also, what he told him is he told us to be fruitful and to multiply. Before I get to the rest of them, when it says to be fruitful, that implies something to you. So if God told you to be fruitful, that implies that he placed a seed inside of you, because you can't produce fruit without the seed, because we know the seed of something is the prerequisite, right, to do. So if God gives you an instruction to become fruit, then he has to have given you the power, the dormant potential, or the seed inside of you. So inward. This is why we live inward out. And see, the world will convince us that we have to look on the outside to try to think of what we're supposed to become and try to formulate that thing because, well, it makes a little money or because it has esteem and people like that thing. No, it's whatever's inside of you. If we don't discover that inward joy or that inward potential, then we're in a place that we will be abusing the use of our own creation. And that's how the enemy sends us counterfeits that we're attracted to. So it's all about this purpose. Even on a physical, if you look at the seed, or the sperm seed, right? And so that's why we know that there are no mistakes. Nobody who was created was ever a mistake. Now, there may be mistaken parents, right? People who made a mistake and had you, but they didn't create the seed and the egg, right? So God created those. So what those two combined would produce was predestined before they had the thought or the lust to get with the person. And so I just want to say to you that you have purpose. And so if you look at the sperm seed, in it was dormant potential. It had power to become something, let's say at least physically. So watch this. So when that sperm seed, the DNA, the intricacies, the power that's in that seed, once it connects to the egg, it already has a plan to produce a physical nature. So before we are able to see it, as the woman goes through the process, the maternity process, and comes out as the baby, and then the baby matures to a certain age or whatever, and it has a certain appearance when it comes an adult, that appearance, that expected end, what it physically was supposed to be, was already known in the point of a seed. So when God tells you to be fruitful, right, that means the seed that is in you has an assignment to become something before it was actually manufactured. I hope this is helping somebody. I'm trying to invoke in you that you were created to do and to be something. And so you better believe the question we got to ask yourself, well, if I am discovering, or as I am discovering myself, you better believe that whatever it is, it has an assignment to work in the grand scheme of things that God wants to do in the earth, and specifically through you. So our questions, they have to be all inclusive. So the why of a thing is more important than many of the things that we chase. And I would offer that as you, and we're going to give you some strategies, as you learn to discover this, your life will bring more fulfillment inside of it, out of it, right? All right, so let's look at, okay, so Dave, so how do I discover my purpose? It's all about becoming. We are human beings, right? So we are human beings, or where we are becoming something. We were made to be something, right? So we wasn't made to just exist. We were made to become something. So wherever we are to be, we want it to come. So that's where that be come. So whatever God intended for you, your assignment is to call it to come into existence. And it shouldn't be a struggle unless we are distracted. So what does that mean? Do you think that a fish has to think about what it is to become? Its very nature calls it to when it is out of the water. Let's just see that. Imagine that a fish, I heard this story from Mike Murdock, and I might mess it up, but you're going to get the point. So imagine a fish. This is the power of being, right? A fish, and it's pulled out of the water and it's placed in the bucket. Now, when you look at that fish in that state, in that environment, you will notice that this fish is basically, it start out just like not moving or going erratic, or whatever it is when it first comes out. And it's got this blank stare of, I'm out of place, right? And what happens after a while, the environment begins to suffocate it, right? And it begins to flip erratically, doing any and everything it could to be what it was, and that's to breathe and to move fluidly, as we'll get to in a second. And so while it's in the place that is not comfortable, it is a very stupid creature. It is an erratic creature. It is a wild creature because it's in a state that his being has been taken away. But if you take that fish, I'm talking about you, and you gently slide it into its environment of the water, it begins to become effortlessly beautiful. Its motion is almost like it's in a liquid ballet, right? It moves so gently and effortlessly. Its turns, its motions, everything about it is so amazing, right? And so because the environment it's in, it allows it to be what it was created to be. So as you go to your workplace, or as you are trying to discover this thing called building your focus or your purpose, you got to ask yourself, are you in an environment that you flow effortlessly, right? And then the efforts that you're flowing in, can you answer the question, do you think that it is causing God to get a pleasure out of your life? So now we know we all may be in seasons where we have to work and it may not be where we are. So don't beat yourself up. But there is a pursuit inside of you of wanting to become. Just like that fish was out of the water, there is that hunger inside of you that you need to find the place that you are to be. Because if you don't, then you will be inwardly erratic and inwardly basically going and doing things and trying to find things that fit you, and that's you trying to search for your environment. So I hope that kind of sparked your interest to want to find out what you become, because it's the why. The purpose is the why. God, why do I exist? God, why do I exist? And so if you don't know why you exist, I came up with 7 questions that just to spark your interest, to kind of assist you and God to make sure that you're walking in purpose. Because I believe when we were sitting here to the earth, the Bible is going to make all of us work together to get to his expected end, or his glory. And God wins at the end of the day. And I don't want to be a person that sits on my gifting or my purpose and watch God have to figure out what his intent for his creation of the world and not be a participant, right? And not be a participant. All right, so here are some of the questions that you can ask yourself. So everybody get ready, and you might have to go back and take a look at this. If you're struggling with your purpose, maybe you can ask yourself these questions and God can help you get there. The first one, what do you enjoy doing that is profitable to others? What is it that you have an inward joy doing that is profitable to others? So in other words, when I say inward joy, for many of you know, what is on the inside of you that has joy that you do that is independent on what they do or say? So you would do it without their money. You would do it even though you want their thanks or their appreciation. You do it without their appreciation. You do it without a title. You would do it without fame. You just have an inward joy doing it. So over your life, ask your question. What is it that you do that you inwardly enjoy that you would do without the need of things on the outside? Especially, here's the second part, if it's profitable to others. Because we know God created things for a purpose. And your purpose is not for yourself. It's for somebody else. So what do you enjoy doing that is profitably up to others? Number 2, here's a question you can ask yourself, and you might want to write these down and go over them. Number 2, if money was not your problem, like if you didn't have to get up and go find ways to go kill something and drag it home to eat it, if you didn't have to find ways to get that car you wanted, that house you wanted, those things, like if you had the house, if you had the car, right? If you go on all the vacations in the world, right? And you're pretty much, because there's a point where you're like over the chase of money, right? You can have enough wealth that you're over the things that money gets you. And that's why some of the people who don't find God, when they're over what money can buy them, they go and try the most weirdest things, right? They get into some sick demonic things because the chase for what occupies most of us, which is money, which is for things, we don't have to chase that anymore. So my question is, if money was not your problem, you had everything you want, what would you do? Now, it's not just sit up and watch TV or lay on the beaches, because after a while, you're going to get tired of that. You will find, anybody ever been on a vacation? Some of us have been fortunate enough to been on extended vacations where you're there, let's say on a 2-week vacation. And after a while, you're like, I just want to go home. Here it is. You on the sandy beaches somewhere. You in one of your favorite states or countries. And after a while, you over it. Like one of the things that you wanted, you couldn't wait till you got to, right? You paid all your money. Once you got there, it's like, okay, I'm done with this. I need to go back home. So there is a point that you get over the things that we want or we have a passion to go after. So the question is, when money is not your problem, when you're there, what would you do? That's the question. Number 3, I got 7 of these, and then you're going to take these and you're going to mull over these so that you can help closely push you to your purpose. That's my goal. Number 3, what have others repeatedly said that you are good at? No, it's so powerful how other people see your potential, which is the seed that's in you, sometimes before you see it. You know, and that's where hate comes from. You know, remember, many people don't know, like, people hating on me and I ain't even done nothing yet. Well, what the thing is they see in you, and it ain't always hate, but they see in you what they see, the gift, they see the power, they see the potential. And so turn your ears up. When people say to you something repeatedly that you're good at, or if people are hating on you because you will excel at something you're good at and that they are not good at, pay attention to that. That could be an indication of the gift that's in you that comes to you with ease, that comes to others with struggle. And so if there's something in you that you kind of float like the fish or the bird that's in the air that don't need to be trained to swim or to fly, when you have this nature to do some things, your talent, your skills or whatever, and you kind of, and people see that in you, you have to pay attention. Oh, wow, they see this in me. I heard that before. Somebody else said that I was good at that. Somebody else said that I was good at that. And then now you get a question. Okay, so wow, maybe God has given me the ability to do this. See, sometimes when we get distracted looking at other things, of celebrities or athletes or people who are that are paid, we want to be attracted to their gifts because their gifts bring the financial return. But the financial return, we just discovered, it is not the point of the gift, and it doesn't bring fulfillment because the consequence, which is money, is not the purpose. And so because we want the money, we figure out, well, what did they do to get it? It's so many rappers that are out here. It's so many people that are trying to be athletes. There's so many people that are trying to sing. There's so many people that are trying to bake cakes like Patti LaBelle. There's so many people that are trying to do things that they're not good at because they're attracted to the consequence of the gift. And you can't be attracted to the consequence of what their gift is because it distracts you from what the joy that is inside of you is. And so you will be distracted going after the consequence and ignoring that they have a fluid nature and are being what they're called to be. So that's why we have to ask ourselves these questions so we won't waste life and waste valuable and precious time, because we'll be 60, 70, 80 years old looking back like, man, I wish I hadn't wasted all that time doing A, B, and C. So don't be distracted by the consequence, which we said money is a reward for solving a problem. If you're solving a problem, you're gifted to solve that problem. And that gifting may be your purpose. So you have to do some reverse engineering. You have to have wisdom to see the difference in what's going on. Well, people, when they solve problems, or when people are operating in something, and as we're on the subject of this question, when you are doing something that is easy to you, you have to be like, okay, God, is that a signal? Is that a sign of the seed that I am supposed to become? Right? So the question is, what have others repeatedly said that you are good at? And then you have to ask yourself, even what have others repeatedly hating on you because you are good at? These are indicators, guys. Okay, so number 4. What talent, skill, or gift? Those are 3. What talent, skill, or gift do you have that comes easier to you as compared to somebody else? Have you ever been doing something, right, that you were good at? It kind of fits some of these other criteria, and you're wondering, and somebody else, they are struggling, and you're looking at them like, oh my God, what is taking you so long? Why is this so difficult? Don't take that as a moment to condescend on them. They may not be wired that way to process the task at hand like you, because you have been wired to do it. That's like a fish saying to, that's like a bird saying to a fish, why can't you fly? I don't understand. Not a flying fish, ironically, but a bird, a normal bird saying to the average fish, why can't you fly? This is so easy and effortless to me. I figured this out with no problem. You know what I'm saying? It seems like you're here, you're competent enough. Why can't you figure this out? Right? Well, the reality is some skills, some gifts, some talents you have, everybody else is not supposed to have it. Everybody else is not supposed to do it as easily as you. That could be an indication of God having worked in you to get to a bigger purpose or of your life. And that could be the thing that you're saying, okay, God, this is an indication. If everybody else is struggling to do this, maybe this is an indicator of my purpose. Could this be another sign that's validating what I am to become, what I am to be, right? So ask yourself, what talent, skills, or gift do you have that comes easy to you that's harder to others? Are you a strategic listener? Are you a strategic thinker? Can you motivate others? Are you skilled at building things? Right? Can you prepare meals and foods easier? Right? Can you administrate easier? These gifts, I always say, your purpose doesn't always have to be spooky spiritual. It doesn't have to be something that you do inside of a local physical church, because God is bigger than a physical church building. God created the world, and not only did he create the earth, and he created the universe and the heavens. So God is bigger than what we've equated him to the local church where can you usher. I ain't talking about that stuff. Whatever your gift is, even in a secular sense, what skills do you have? What problems do you solve that are easily solvable with the hands and the gifts that God has given you? Those are indicators. What problems can you solve easier? And again, this made a note I heard to some people. Stop knocking other people that can't do it as fast as you. They don't process as fast as you in those things. So stop knocking them. You ought to have wisdom and know that may be your gift and not their gift. And I'm sure that if we went and tried some things long enough, they can do and perform some things way easier and faster than you. And they can have that same conversation to you and ask you why you so slow. So pull back and be humble. Sit down, be humble, right? All right, back to my point. So So you have a processing power that God is placing you that is not to be bragged or condescending, but an indicator of what you are to lead in and what you are to develop and refine, because as you lead in these things naturally and they profit others with ease, this could be indication. All right, so we have 3 more. Number 5. What problems have you seen in the world or whatever that you have responded to? So what things, what lacks that are in the world, what things that maybe even that dissatisfies you? What problems have you seen in the earth that really gets to you? Whether that's homelessness or poverty, right? Or a child that's an orphan, right? Or people that are unsaved, right? Or somebody that's struggling to read, or somebody that's struggling to comprehend, or somebody or a business that's struggling with good processes. Like, what is it that you see, the problems that you see that you responded to with passion? That's the end of it, that you responded to with passion. So in other words, when I say with passion, that means passion is someone doing something and suffering for it, for the result of a positive end. Like we heard about the passion of Christ. He came and he seen that there was a problem with us, and he came down and he suffered for us because he wanted to fix it. So what problems have you seen in this world that you really have an emotional attraction to, that you have in the past? Not that you talked about, ooh, that don't make no sense. Not just to being a bystander and ooh, somebody should do something. No, something that you've actually got up off of your butt and actually went to fix without the anticipation of somebody was going to pay you for it. So what problems have you saw that you responded to with a passion, that you suffered through to fix? Look back since you far as back you remember. What have you seen when somebody maybe picked on your friend, or whatever it was that you seen? What have you kind of responded to that you needed to fix? That's an indicator of what moves you, what's inside of you that you are to fulfill. Great indication. Number 6, and here's the last 2. Over your life, what have you been inclined to do? All of us have been inclined to do something. One of the things, I've tried several things in my life, and I probably will continue to, because I have an entrepreneurial spirit, and I have quite a few areas in life that I'm a process guy, so I can see things and kind of put it together easy. And so I mean everything from I can't even start. I mean, from me and my search for who I am. I've been in sales. I've been in life, health, and health insurance. I've been a banker. I've been a commercial lender. I've sold and baked cakes. I am a musician, so I've actually done piano and drum lessons. I have been into entrepreneurial things, auto body and collisions. I've actually tempered in medical laboratory testing. The list just goes on. Supplemental education, in multiple states, tutoring kids. I mean, the list goes on. So here it is. I'm trying all these different things, and this is a sub point. Sometimes you just need to just do some stuff and try some stuff to discover what you're not good at the same time too. And my point is, the state is, over your life, what have you been inclined to do out of all those things that I've tried, right? From real estate from real estate and being a landlord to investing, in the financial markets, all these things that I've tried. What have you always been inclined to come back and do? And for me, that's been teaching. I've always been inclined to want to teach. When somebody is struggling with something and I can explain something to the point that they understand it, that does something to me. And I have to stop myself, because I would have hour-long conversations with people, giving them revelation that I feel that the Holy Spirit has given me, either from experience or a word of knowledge, and it does something for me. That's why I can get up every morning and come out here and teach, because I'm always inclined to do it. So this is an indication. Yours may be something else. What is it that you're always inclined to do? You always pull back to doing. Indication that you are to look at that, especially if it solves and it profits somebody else's problem. Whatever that is, you might need to refine that gift and that be the thing that you lead in, because whatever you begin to lead in, it will begin to make room for you, because the Bible says your gift will make room for you and set you in the presence of great men. So if you believe that, you can find rest and courage and actually just spend the passion to work that thing out and refine it so it'll come in your life. All of us need purpose, guys. When you don't have purpose, you have this void. And then the last question that I have, and I'm sure that there's others, but for those of you who are searching purpose, what do you want to be said about you at your home going? It sounds like a very deep and morbid question, but this is one question that I think is so important. All of us have been given this opportunity to have physical life in the earth. And we know that we need God and purpose. So while you're here, you can take advantage of the opportunity that God chose you to come through the birth canal and to birth the spiritual reality that you existed in into this natural reality where you're conscious yourself in this world. Now watch this. When you go through life, and we all get a shot at life, and you only get one shot, as I understand it, before the resurrection and all that other stuff, right? So as you get this shot in life, whether you waste it or what, there will come a time that we all must die, because life don't exist if death isn't there. So death is just a part of this concept of life, spiritually and naturally. So we're not surprised that death will come. Your age telling every day, your muscles are telling you that you are expiring, right? And death is coming. So we're not upset about that. Here's the point. When you lay in that casket, this is what I want you to imagine, because I've been in several homegoings and I heard certain people talk great about people, and I heard some people don't have nothing to say. When you're laying there, hopefully 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, whatever it be, what God has graced you to have, if you could listen in, what would you want the people there to say about you? What do you want them to say? What problems did you solve? What do you want them to say that your life had an effect on their life? What do you want said? Now, if yours is, oh man, they had a lot of money, they went on a lot of vacations, they went to a job all the time that they really didn't want to go to, they was distracted all the time. We know that some of those things, like, those are not important. You'll begin to realize that you want it to have a significance. And sometimes what you've been hearing all this time, you can now take this question and you can bring out what you wanted. For me, I want people, and they will say, this guy affected the earth positively because he left behind material. He left behind things that will cause others to have life. Even when he's gone, he left a legacy. He was a person that actually that got a joy out of seeing people understand. He was a person that helped you walk through your processes. Whenever you had a difficulty, he wanted to be with you and help you work through it, and that you would understand it from his experiences. And he would spend hours with you that you would understand. Of course, I want them, we're talking about purpose. Of course, I want them to talk about how I was a family man, and I love my family, and I love the people of God, and I wanted them all to come to repentance. But if we're talking about a gift or a skill, even though my gift and skill, it fits inside of let's say a fivefold ministry or teaching, I am just blessed to have that. I want them to say that I have passion to produce results in the area of the word of knowledge. The Bible told me that my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And I understand that people, they are ruled by ignorance, and that's darkness. And if I could do anything to affect that, I've done my job, especially if I could leave things behind to still continue. One of my mentors, Miles Monroe, he's sitting on my desk right now. He has left behind material. I was just reading some of the comments on one of his YouTube says it feels like this man is still alive because he talks to me every day. And that's so true. So you ask yourself this question: what do you want people to say about you at your homegoing? And that be a question that can get you closer to your destiny. So I'm going to read these again, and then we're going to close this. And I hope this helps somebody, because you need purpose. You need purpose to fulfill you, right? Number one, what do you enjoy doing that is profitable to others? And that is, what is it that you would do freely? What do you enjoy? There's an inward joy, not an outward dependence. What do you inwardly enjoy doing that is profitable to others? Number two, if money was not your problem, you had everything you want, you done traveled to every country, every state, and you tired of it, what would you do at that point? Number three, what have others repeatedly said that you are good at? You got to listen to others. They know our gifts. They see it before we see it. Number four, what talent, skill, or gift do you have that comes easier to you as compared to others? Right? That's an indication. Number five, what problems have you seen in the earth that you've responded to, that you went to go fix with a passion? What problems? Not that you talked about that somebody else needed to fix. What got you off your butt to go fix? Number six, over your life, what have you always been inclined? What have you always been pulled back to do? And then lastly, what do you want to be said at your homegoing? When your time on this physical earth is over, what problems do you want others to say that you solve? What remedies? What did you fix? What do you want people to say about you? If you sit down and ask these questions to yourself and you write an answer, you'll begin to formulate faster the purpose. God created all things for a purpose. He has an expected end for all of us in this physical life. Jesus said, I've come that you may have life and life more abundantly. He also said, well, God told us that he wants us to dominate, have dominion. So we are to become. God created all of us to work. He told us to be fruitful. There's so many signs or so many instructions in the Bible that is talking directly to you. And I say that if we're wasting time, if we're feeling that there's voids, we might need to invest more energy in discovering what you are created for. Because the two things that you need to answer, that you cannot feel with people, with places you go, or with the money that you make, that's God and that's purpose. If you don't have God and you don't have purpose, I don't care how you can spin everybody else. I am not confused. You are unhappy with your life. And I know some very wealthy people. I know some very wealthy people, and what people, they think that what they have. I know some successful people. I know some people on surface that look good physically. I know some people in a lot of different areas, but when they don't have God and when they don't have purpose and never feel it, they are unhappy. So don't be spent by trying to chase the consequence of what some people have created, right? If they're not operating in purpose, they are unhappy. Because your fulfillment comes from an inward joy, and what's on the outside cannot fill it. So don't waste your time chasing the consequence of problems that you were created by God to solve in this earth. And I want to say that you have the power to get there. God has placed it in you, and you can become all that God has created you to be. You just have to give your attention and ask God, God, why did you create me? Why did you create me? Ask these questions, and God will give you the answer, because he wants to get you to the expected end. I love you guys. Share this message with people who are searching. A lot of people who are in college need this message too, because they're in college trying everything. You know what I'm saying? And trying is okay, especially when you're young. But if you can ask these questions, you might can get there faster. And there's nothing more powerful than somebody who has found their purpose at a young age. That is dynamite. Ask Jesus. Ask Martin Luther King, right? Ask Miles Monroe, right? Ask people who have been at it for. Ask a Kobe Bryant, right? Ask a LeBron James. Kobe Bryant is on his second life. He had a full life, and you know he was made to entertain and be an athlete, to dribble that ball, to give us leisure. So you don't have to be, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be an usher when I'm talking about purpose, right? It could be what your gift is in, and you just refine it and work it. And God will all things will work, because God has an expected end. I love you guys. Share this message, and I will see you tomorrow where we will build your family. I hope this bless you, and I hope this caused you to get closer to purpose faster. You guys have a good rest of your day. All right.